This video is probably weirder than actual Hemlock Grove.
Yeah. Oh.
So we did the Doctor Who tag, and Chris here enjoyed it so much he wanted to talk TV again.
I know.
So we're going to talk about a truly terrible television show that we watched so you don't have to.
But it ran for 2 series.
2 series. We're going to talk about a show called Hemlock Grove.
Yeah, it was a straight to Netflix scenario.
That's based on a book of the same name. We decided to watch Hemlock Grove, right? We used to do a radio show together called The Lock-In, where one day Chris had this bright idea that we would both watch the entirety of season 1 of Hemlock Grove.
Oh, this is my bright
It was
idea.
your idea that we would watch the entirety of Hemlock Grove and then we would review it on the show.
Yeah.
The show actually got cancelled before we finished watching Hemlock Grove. So this is been about 2 years in the making.
I must add that the show didn't get cancelled because we were talking
Hemlock
about
Grove.
Yeah.
So Hemlock Grove is there's 2 seasons and it's a Netflix created production.
It's 2 series.
Whatever. Seasons, series, same difference, tomato, tomato, and all that stuff.
But we're going with tomato.
Basically, there's a town called Hemlock Grove. Into this town at the beginning of the show, a Romany gypsy family moves in, and they are sort of living in the woods, if you will, like kind of on the outskirts. A girl is then brutally murdered in those woods, and the police are kind of going, it was a wild animal attack.
Oh my god!
Leads into mysterious supernatural goings-on at Hemlock Grove. So in Hemlock Grove there's also a massive factory thing which is run by the Godfrey family, where all sorts of bizarre experiments happen. The oldest Godfrey child is a kid called Roman, who then becomes Peter's BFF. Peter is the son of the Romany gypsy family that moves in. Yeah. And they are kind of our 2 main characters.
Basically, Roman and Peter are from opposite ends of the spectrum. Peter's a gypsy traveller, Romany gypsy traveller, and Roman is just very kind of, he's from a well-to-do family, you know.
Very wealthy.
Lives in a big posh house.
Has his own very posh car.
And has a future in running the big white tower.
Yeah. So the 2 of them meet at school, and for some reason Roman just automatically goes up to Peter and is all like, we should be BFFs. And Peter's a bit like, WTF, man, it's a bit much. But eventually I think Roman sort of wears him down and the 2 of them become BFFs. So there's a girl called, I think her name is Christina.
Yeah.
And she goes to school with Roman and Peter, and her grandparents have like a house thing that's near where Peter lives, and she goes up to him and starts asking him all these questions about werewolves, and he's just like, well, I'm not going to tell you I'm a werewolf. So he says like, oh, well, yeah, whatever. And then she reads this weird book where you can allegedly turn yourself into a werewolf by drinking water from a werewolf's paw print.
Yeah.
Many bizarre things happen in Hemlock Grove. So she decides that, and then everyone seems to know for some reason that Peter's a werewolf, even though he hasn't physically said this to anyone.
Yeah. But she spots it by, apparently, I don't know if this is kind of
common knowledge,
but apparently if you are a werewolf, or what's the technical term for it?
Lycanthrope.
Lycanthrope. If you're a lycanthrope, then your middle and 3rd finger will be the same length, like that.
Are you a lycanthrope?
No, I've just
Oh, I got really excited then. So you're a werewolf.
Yeah. So yeah, your middle finger and your 3rd finger are the same length.
I can confirm I am not a werewolf.
Yeah, me too.
So if you, like Christina Wendell, have a thing about fingers, you can eliminate werewolves from your social circle.
She somehow, with her eagle eyes, manages to spot this.
I personally, if I come across like a slightly older guy and I'm a teenage girl and I think, oh, he's quite nice to look at, I wouldn't, like, stare at his fingers.
Yeah.
Like, that's not the most... I don't have a finger thing. Like, that's not the most attractive part of a person. Like, why was she spending so much time looking at this guy's fingers?
Plus, I believe she found him... Was he naked when she found him? It kind of comes in handy for changing into a werewolf.
Yeah, so basically it's kind of revealed really early on that Peter is a werewolf. Peter for some bizarre reason, comes home one day and goes, "Hey Mum, I've made this new friend. He's a new peer."
Yeah.
And his mum just goes, "Oh, well, you should be careful of them. They're wily little creatures." And I'm sat there thinking, what the hell is a new peer?
Yeah.
And then I googled it. Apparently, it's like some sort of Eastern European vampire story thing.
Oh, so that is.
He's a vampire basically. Okay. So Roman is a vampire. He doesn't know he's a vampire. His mum is a vampire, but she does know that she's a vampire.
And she knows that he's a vampire.
And she knows that he's a vampire, but she hasn't told him this yet.
So that's kind of the lay of the land with your two main characters.
So Peter and Roman decide that they're going to solve the murder of this girl. What got brutally attacked?
Yeah.
And on the way, they discover lots of very bizarre things, like the fact that they have the same dreams.
Yeah, those...
Which is never really explained.
Cousin, she gets involved with the investigation as well, doesn't she?
Yeah, bit? Because Peter fancies her, Roman also fancies her.
And she fancies... she fancies Peter.
Because Roman's her cousin, and that's gross.
Yeah.
Basically, we're not explaining it very well. But Hemlock Grove is the biggest ball of WTF you will ever come across in your entire life. Season 1 is all about a vampire that doesn't know he's a vampire, becoming BFFs with a werewolf, and trying to solve the murder of a young teenage girl who it turns out was murdered by another werewolf, who decided to become a werewolf because they wanted to drink puddle water.
Yeah.
Series 1 blew my mind. Series 2 was on like a whole other level.
Yeah.
There were like creepy monster men and like vampiric babies and a weird threesome between Peter Roman and some blonde girl that they picked up off a highway. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, it was just that was all kinds of weird, wasn't it? He's discovered he's a vampire, and so he's isolated himself in this big, fancy, kind of modern-looking glass-fronted house, and just
glass-fronted houses seem like a weird choice for a vampire.
So, but we discovered from the first series that his cousin was pregnant.
She is pregnant with some kind of creepy supernatural baby. When she has her baby, the baby then plays quite a pivotal role in series 2.
Yeah.
Where it becomes adopted by Roman, its parent/second cousin.
So Roman's kind of taking care of the baby and keeping it in this weird sort of
soundproof
room.
Yeah,
that's being looked after by this weird old man and lady.
Yeah, these two really bizarre elderly people are like living in Roman's weird glass house.
Yeah.
And they're the primary caregivers of this baby, but it's all very strange.
Yeah.
And then a blonde girl turns up and goes, "Oh, I had a car accident. Can I come in?" And Roman is all like, "Oh, I'm a bit lonely and you're quite attractive, so yeah, come on in."
Yeah.
They sort of become buddies because he's missing a BFF now that Peter's GTFO'd. And then... and then Peter comes back, and then Peter and Roman sort of come face to face again, and they've sort of decided they're not really friends anymore. And then Peter was all like, "Well, Roman doesn't really like me anymore, so we're not going to be friends." So they're just sleeping with the same girl, even though they don't really like each other.
And then later on, to make amends,
they will sleep together.
They have a big threesome and everything's fine again.
Literally, that episode, it is worth sitting through the whole of Hemlock Grove just for the episode after the threesome.
Yeah.
It was so funny. They have a threesome with this girl who then starts weirdly lactating. Because that's the sort of thing that happens at Hemlock Grove.
And the two weird old people that are kind of standing guard of the baby are a little bit suspicious of this girl.
They don't really like her.
Yes.
Because there are lots of people in Hemlock Grove trying to get their hands on Letha's creepy supernatural baby.
Yeah.
It's not a nice place to be. House prices must be well cheap in Hemlock Grove.
Oh, yeah.
The entire series is 50 Shades of Grey. There is no other way to describe it other than 50 Shades of Grey.
And none of it, it's all a bit disjointed like this video.
It doesn't make sense.
And so in series 1, Shelley can't talk, so she's using like this kind of, this voice output
machine
kind of,
thing.
But
only living in the woods has made her be able to talk.
Yeah, she's learned how to talk.
The woodland creatures have taught her.
Very fluently as well,
For someone that hasn't been around humans for quite some time.
She hasn't just kind of like... She hasn't just sort of slowly picked up a few words. She is talking. Telly downloads her mind into a new attractive body, get rid of her original body, and just continue living in this new body.
Yeah, so she's going through that. Roman's decided he's going to have a cell transplant so that he's human rather than a vampire. Only then he realises that there's a creepy lizard man and his mother both trying to eat his baby. So he decides, no, I need my vampiric strength for the moment. I will keep this, and instead I will just chow down on some guts, and then I'll be ready to go and fight that evil. He eats like, it's like blancmange basically. He eats all of that, and then he runs off home and destroys all these creepy church people that are just hanging out in his house. And Peter's there all wolfed out, and he's like getting in there as well, and then Peter's all like, oh, now I'm a proper werewolf, I must eat everyone, and then Roman's going, no, Peter, look into my eyes, it's me!
That weird scene where Roman kind of rescues Peter from becoming a permanent werewolf.
Yeah, there's the one thing that's really good about Hemlock Grove, we should actually say what we think of it in a minute.
Yeah.
There's this one thing is, like, most of it is shockingly bad, but the actual werewolf transformation in series 1 is actually really good. There's like this whole bit where like his eyes like fall out and stuff, and then he's got like wolf eyes behind.
His flesh all kind of falls off. But
yeah.
There's like the gross bit where the wolf eats all the flesh.
Human stuff, yeah. In season 2, because Peter's turned into a werewolf when it's not a full moon, and so he's like proper wolfed out and he's turning a bit evil.
Yeah.
There's this bit when like Roman decides he's going to use his vampireness to summon the strength of the gods, and he just like grabs the werewolf jaw and just tears the wolf open. And then Peter just sort of falls out.
Well, doesn't he reach in and then grab Peter's hand and
like pull him out of a wolf? It's so weird.
I mean, that was probably
the budget
the best
of
moment.
season 2 was that moment,
because it was actually quite an imaginative, you know. Because you get so many of these wolf transformations that are just like rip-offs of American Werewolf in London, don't you? Where you see like the claws stretch out and the bones.
Also, there's a lot of like really bad werewolves. Like I love Buffy, but watching Oz turn into a werewolf is like watching someone just explode into a hamster.
That was the highlight of both series.
The wolf transformation is genuinely the best bit.
Yeah.
Overall, what would you give Hemlock Grove?
Both series?
Yeah.
I'd, out of 10, I'd probably give it a very generous 5.
Oh, that is generous.
Yeah.
I don't, well, it's at least 2 weeks of my life that I'm never going to get back.
Yeah.
But I didn't dislike it. We're going to try, because we wanted this to be part of a radio show that we used to do, we're going to try and do this every now and again, where we, hopefully, in a much more articulate way, we'll talk about a television show that we have watched and either enjoyed or hated, and then we'll tell you about it. So that's the plan. So give this a thumbs up if you actually liked this video. Don't tell me if you didn't though, because I'm very fragile.
We'll know if you haven't said anything that you don't like it.
Yeah. So. If you want to know when I next upload a video, if you click up here somewhere, there will be a subscribe button that you can click on. If you want to see more of Chris, you can click on his face, and that will take you to the series comedy.
If you want to hear more of Leah, you can catch her on Saturday afternoons on www.somervalleyfm.co.uk.
And if you're not listening to Dan and Phil on Monday, you can listen to Chris, because he's on at the same time.
Yeah, on Monday evenings at 9 PM, we're the Proctologist. Catch me and Rhys Williams talking anally about prog, yeah.
And if you want more of Leah Chris action, we did the Doctor Who tag, which I will link below, and also wrote a book together, which is also available for free if you want to read it on the internet. It's called Funky Jack Bonkins, Nocturnal Detective Agency.
And there's a sequel in the pipeline.
Oh yeah. Bye then.